January 30, 2025. This is the S&P 500 E-Futures Mini on the 2000 tick chart using NinjaTrader 8. This is what the chart looked like today, and this is how I drew it. For the most part, it was just kind of sideways range bound. The range was about 50, 60 points, and the volume was definitely a lot less than yesterday because yesterday was just big choppy mess. Today, there was only one time economic data really came out that might have moved the market, which was about 5:30 Pacific Standard, which is about right here, the unemployment claims and the advanced GDP numbers. Other than that, price action it was hard to find a really big channel to contain everything. And by the time I kind of drew them, there wasn't very many confirmations to make them look solid. So most of the time I was just playing these shortened trend channels, and there were a lot of big, clean moves, but very few ways to enter them. So I didn't find very many setups today. I did take one trade, and it was a winner. And then there was probably another really decent trade that I found, which is right about here, this lower high, which I'll get to, which I think is a possible trade. Unfortunately, it's just too late in the day for me, but I thought it was a really nice, very clean setup, very, very clear. Had this setup actually been earlier in the day, I'm pretty sure I would have jumped on it without as much fear that it wouldn't work out. And then, unlike yesterday, well, yesterday there was just a lot of second entries everywhere, but it's hard to trust because just look at this really congested price action, lots of volume, very choppy, very whippy. That's also when the FOMC rate decision was coming out. So today was a little bit different, a little more sedated, but as I said, there was just not as very many clean areas that I could feel safe entering. Let me get into the trades right now. Pre-market, there was a spike up, excuse me, a break and a test the high. Then it looked like it was two legs down, but it also fit nicely in this orange down channel for break. Then it got in this really choppy swings, which is just kind of moving left and right, left and right, left and right. Excuse me, not left and right, but up and down. So when I see this right at the open, I'm thinking today looks like it's going to be a range bound day. I drew this loose fitting yellow channel going up, but I don't really trust it because this also could be a trading range. It is making higher highs and higher lows, but it's just hard to know really what's going to happen until we open. So the market opens, it just gets these really small side-by-side price moves, kind of sells off gradually, hits this, bounces, so I have more trust in this yellow up channel. Hits the top, is kind of curling back. It does have a second entry long here, but it's not very clean. I don't like it. It's below the EMA. EMA itself is not being respected because prices are moving above and below. So it's just kind of sit in hands, wait, breaks out, tests the pre-market high and pushes through. I'm thinking potential fail breakout. Hits the high. I saw this orange up channel, but I don't really know what's going to happen. It does break, test the high, and comes back down. You have first entry long pullback, creates a second entry long failure. So it's a new high, it's a first entry long pullback, second entry long failure. I didn't really mark it, but I saw it and I wasn't sure. I do like that. The things that I do like going for it is it moved one tick above the previous, pushes down and engulfs the two previous bars with a strong close. The thing that caused me to pause was if it had just closed one tick lower, I would have been a little more confident at taking a potential trade and even marking it. But what I don't like is kind of got stopped out right where it did previously, where there's two previous attempts. So is there a possible trading range that's developing here? It sure looks like it because it looks like it pushed up, down, pushed up, almost made an exact matching high. It's off by one tick, I think, and it comes back down and it does make a matching low here. So I'm not sure what to think, but it is a nice setup in a different context. And right now it's not the right one. Pushes down, it would have worked. I'm okay letting that trade go. Pushes down on this green down channel. I originally had this as a tighter channel like this with a break and a new low, but it kept going. So then I expanded it to this green one, and now there's a violation here, overshoot. You do technically have a new low, first entry short, second entry short. I don't like this signal bar. The follow-up trigger bar isn't giving me confidence. Then it pushes back up, chops around. It is respected by the EMA, or respecting the EMA. This orange up channel pushes up, breaks, tests the high. Kind of getting choppy. You have a new high, first entry long. You potentially could have a second entry long setting up, but I don't like these signal bars. And then if you did try to enter, you'd be sitting in this noise. Likely would have gotten stopped out on one of these guys if you went long. No reason to go short, really. It's this trading range consolidation, breaks out. I'm thinking potential fail breakout, but I also like it as one big leg, choppy one leg up, pull back two legs up, but this could also be seen as one big leg, pull back, another attempt up, and then I'm thinking there's going to start a second leg similar in size to this green down channel. So I first drew this measured leg. I actually had it, the second part attached here, but I didn't attach it yet. I actually did, but it's moved since then. So push this down. You technically have a new high, first entry long, pull back. You have a second entry long here, but it's very subtle, very tiny, nothing really here. Below the EMA, I'm not thinking of going long yet. There's a first entry short. Technically, you have a second entry short. I did have this drawn all the way out to here at one time, but I didn't trust this range as being a range so much. I trusted it back here, but I did think of it as potentially some kind of resistance line here, some resistance zone that prices are respecting. I had something like that drawn at one time. Price is coming down. It's a first entry long, pull back. Technically, I have a second entry long below the EMA, no real setup. It's just looking noisy. And as prices are moving down, I moved this measured leg from here to something closer to here. I'm expecting a move all the way down to here. Pushes on this green down channel, breaks, tests the low. I'm thinking the down channel has played out. Now, if you drew it differently, you could have had it dragged all the way down to here, in which case the measure move isn't made. But I liked it actually right here for the reason being that this is clearly a leg down. There's a sideways consolidation, another breakdown, push up, and then this looks like another start of a very clean leg down. So I actually drew my measured leg here and here. Nevertheless, I was watching for potential bounce here without negating the fact that it actually could be even lower. But still, for the time being, I was looking at something potentially happening here. Plus, this is actually the low, the actual true low of the pre-market. So it could be a fail breakout of this dotted red line. So I'm wondering if prices are going to move back up and that my pre-market trading range could potentially actually be something lower like this. So I'm thinking that's a possibility. And move it back up. That's strange. I'm not sure why I have double lines here. I think I probably drew it twice, but okay, I'll just go ahead and move it down here for now, because I was keeping an eye on something like that. Prices push up, break of the green up channel, test of the high, comes back. I solved this setup, and I actually called it an almost trade. So it's a break of this green up channel, test the high, up channel has played out. Green down channels actually also has played out. So it looks like it's just kind of sideways consolidation. Is it in a trading range? I'm not 100% sure yet. I did have a resistance drawn like this at one time. I since deleted it because as I'm going through the day, I try to clean up my chart because it gets messy for sure. It's not so hard to follow along if you're just been following along from the beginning, but if you were to keep all your lines there and you look at the end of the day, unless you're in it in real time, it just looks like a big mess. And so that was what was happening, at the end of the day. And I've since deleted a bunch of lines. So it's a new low. The first entry short, pullback, second entry short, creates a lower high, and it's a new high, first entry long, pullback, second entry long, failed second entry long. Second entry long technically hasn't failed yet. And then when it follows through with this trigger bar, like first entry long, second entry long, failure, I'm not that excited about seeing this signal bar. Plus, this was my original pre-market low. Granted, this red one could be in play. Actually, just go ahead and delete this. This is getting, there you go. This red one could be in play. So I wasn't too excited about potentially running into one set of resistance, maybe another set. So I left it alone, called it an almost trade. If this signal bar had been better, maybe, and it kind of pushes down, moves down to this orange down channel, which doesn't fit that well, break, pushes up, one leg up, pull back, second leg up. So I actually had this at one point, but as it kept pushing up, it didn't even look like it was valid, so I went ahead and deleted it. I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Green up channel, break, test the high, thinking uptrend may have played out. Creates a second entry long. I actually like this because it was 2 legs down, but even though I have it drawn as 1 leg break, tested the low. If it had bounced off the EMA, it'd be a different story. This transparent up channel doesn't exist yet because I needed this one and this one, so this line doesn't exist, so I can't claim this as a key entry point, but I did see it as a first entry long pullback, second entry long, looks like 2 legs down, not quite measured, it actually exceeded it. I didn't like that it broke below the EMA. If this candle stopped right at the EMA or closed above it, I think it'd be a different story. So this one does feel a little bit riskier because this isn't a good signal bar to go long on if it was green. It also helps its cause, but this one isn't. So it's just kind of like, it feels a little ambiguous, a little risky, left it alone. In this case, it would have worked. Pushes up. I started to draw this transparent up channel. I drew the resistance first, then I drew the support later. So I thought, okay, there's actually obeying this up channel. It's a break of this green. First attempt up, pull back. This could be the start of the second attempt up, but it's potentially breaking out of this guy. So it might want to move back into this transparent channel right now. Creates a failed second entry long, new high, first entry long pullback, second entry long failure. I thought it was a possible trade. Excuse me. There's a triple touch rejection of this downward trend line, which later became a channel because I actually had the channel. Let me show you what I had originally, something tighter like that. So in this time, I'm thinking, okay, it's a failed second entry long, maybe a possible trade. I'm a little leery of it forming above the EMA. It is moving down. I'm looking for a lower high confirmation, but if you're more aggressive, you could take it. You don't really get a lower high till maybe about right here, but it's by then too far from the EMA, too far from the setup. Starts pushing down, and it creates a new low, first entry short, pull back, second entry short, and there is a triple test here. I counted this as a triple test because clearly it broke below, made one attempt on this green bar. So that's my first attempt. Pushes down, makes a second attempt, can't break through, and it makes a third attempt. It also looks like it's 2 legs up, so I like that. I enter, so this one opens right here. It's starting to kind of jostle around. I waited for it to clearly move below this, and this is a no, excuse me. This is a 12 tick wrist bar or 12 tick signal bar, but I like that it closed below, and I like that it closed bearish, and I saw there was enough room to make it to the low. Also at this time, I did have a draw in here. This is the first entry short, second entry short. I'd like that it also technically didn't touch the EMA, but it was close enough. So I have one key entry point, second entry short, second key entry point, and then third key entry point is it kind of had a rejection off the EMA. So I liked it. I entered right at the lows of here after a confirmed break. Flushes down. I was able to get my 1 point profit target, 5 ticks, and I moved my stop from this double top down to 1 tick below my entry. And unfortunately, my runner got stopped out. If I was able to hold longer and this one didn't, because this one would have stopped me out for sure, I would have been able to potentially ride this down. And as I was going down, I actually dragged this down to here. And actually, I think I had it slightly different where it looked like it was 1 touch, 2 touch. I was pushing down. I'm liking what I see. And I do realize that after this potential breakout during this time, it's a break and then another push down. There is a risk that this is the second entry short. There's a overshoot here. It could push up and create a second overshoot here. But I overrid that possibility in my mind, thinking I have 3 key entry points working for me. 1, 2, 3 triple test, that's 1. Second entry short, that's 2. And a rejection off the EMA. Not quite a touch, but good enough. And it's a good signal bar. So that's how I justified taking that trade because I felt like it had more push down. Granted, it is potentially a little riskier. Then prices started moving. I found this red up channel break. There's a second entry short here. I was debating because I didn't like that it actually pushed above and it created a second entry short here. It does confirm here. So this was a kind of like a trap trade because of the new low, first entry short, second entry short. You have one key entry point, second key entry point, good signal bar, but it didn't really get the EMA rejection. So I was here. I was thinking, I'm not too sure. I'm going to wait for a lower high, especially I was just profitable just now. Just didn't really want to risk it. If you entered, you'd have to wait for the confirmation. So you confirm second entry short, but it looks like it's about to reverse on itself. And if you did take it, I think you would have gotten stopped out here. Pushes up in this red up channel, break, it starts pushing up. So I find this green up channel, there's no clean second entries. So I'm just sitting on my hands watching and waiting for a good setup. Doesn't really show up, bounces, keeps going up. I extended this red dotted line upwards and I thought this actually touches pretty well. Could there be a bigger channel here? It only has 2-touch confirmations at the low end, kind of like 3-touch confirmation because it does look like it's sweeping pretty well. But there's still no key entry points or no setups for second entry. Technically, I have a second entry long here, new high, first entry long, second entry long, but this is a bad signal bar. It's just sideways price action. Total range is about 5 points. So you're asking for at least 1 point out of that, where the bars themselves are taking up pretty much 50% of the range. So it's just congested. It just says stay away. Then you get a bunch of dojis in a row. I'm not too keen on those. Again, it breaks out. Dwells quite a long time, pushes down. EMA is clearly flattening out. Pushes down. Again, it's just flattening out. Nothing I particularly like. It feels risky. Then it pushes up in this green up channel. Again, no clean second entries that I could feel confident taking. You have a first entry long here. Unfortunately, you don't really quite get a second entry long in here because it all made a triple test here, or micro triple top. Doesn't break above, doesn't break below and then above. So you only really have a first entry long. Pushes up. Here is a new high. Technically a first entry long here, second entry long here was confirmed by this candle, but this is a signal bar is terrible. It's below the EMA. The risk is low, but it doesn't, when you see this in real time and then you see this follow through, the follow through wasn't even that convincing. And it also closed below the EMA. So it's just telling me, okay, just sit on my hands, pushes up, and then starts reversing back down. So as it pushes through, I drew this green down channel. I'm looking for reasons to go short. I didn't really see any. I'm definitely not seeing any reason to go long because this is very strong momentum push down. It starts pushing up and it moves one leg up. So I did see this green down channel fit really nicely. There's a small break here, but I discounted it because the follow through was still within this channel. It did move one leg up, pull back, creates the second entry short, first entry short, second entry short. I don't like that it's above the EMA, but it did create a measured move. I'm expecting a test of this green down channel, so I'm waiting. Then it creates this lower high. This lower high I actually thought, had this setup actually occurred with more time, because this is with only about 15 minutes or so before the end of the day, I thought this is actually a pretty, really clean setup. It's green down channel, break 2 attempts up. It needs to come back down to test the low. First entry short, second entry short, lower high, confirming the second entry short. Good signal bar. I like that it moved a couple ticks up and then flushed down, engulfing this previous bar and close at the low. Enough room to the lows here. So this is a really good setup. Unfortunately, I don't want to take it. I called it a possible trade, but it's just too late in the day for me. Pushes down. You have a new high, technically, first entry long, second entry long. I'm not even thinking of going long, even though the downtrend has played out. It just feels too risky. The setups don't even look that enticing. Pushes up, new low, first entry short, second entry short, second entry short here. I was thinking, is there going to be something similar to here? But the downtrend has played out. So I'd be leery of taking a lower high if it sets up here. And it actually doesn't. It kind of pushes up, creates a double top, and then kind of starts moving up on this orange up channel. From here on out, definitely it's too late in the day, and you don't really get any second entries. You do get a new high, first entry long, second entry long here at that signal bar, and then this is also another nice setup. I didn't mark it though because this is at the very last minute of the day. This is at 12:59 Pacific Standard, but I like that it broke below this orange up channel. The first break, first attempt, pull back, second attempt. The signal bar is 10 ticks, so it's like right within our usual rules. But I thought this is actually a decent setup. Too bad it's the wrong time of day, too late in the day, and it just kind of moves into the close. So kind of how I saw the charts today. Nice uh, movement, I guess swings, but not very many entry points, not very many opportunities to enter. So it just got one trade, was profitable, and just kind of leave it at that. This one was pretty nice. I wish it had occurred earlier in the day, and this one also was very nice, and I wish this had happened earlier in the day. So hopefully that was helpful.